Nighttime is a great time to photograph cities. The lights come on and their city comes to life. And in this video, I'm going to show you two different approaches. The first is timing, photographing during the blue hour to maximize the color of the sky just as the lights have started to come on. And the second is later on in the evening when it's dark enough to deploy some nice long exposures for dramatic effects. The best time to photograph cities at night is in the blue hour. That is just after sunset or just before sunrise. I'm not an early starter, so I'm going for the just after sunset. The reason that you want to shoot at this time of day is that the sky is dark enough for you to actually have some lights on in the buildings, but the sky isn't so dark that it's just a plain black background, or worse still, a black background that's tinted with the orange pollution of all of those city lights. So this is the perfect time to shoot. You've only got about half an hour to an hour depending on the time of year, so you've got to shoot quickly. So timing is one thing. The other thing to watch out for is camera shape, because we're now looking at some quite long exposures. So I'm leaning on a railing here. Always find a railing or a shelf or something you can lean against in order to hold the camera steady. When you are photographing buildings at fairly close range, you also have to decide whether you're going to point up at them and have them converging into a point in the distance, or whether you're going to photograph them, as I am here, square on. I prefer the square on approach. I really like the geometry there, but that is purely personal. Just remember to hold steady. When photographing cities at night, I always look out for rivers or canals because you'll get beautiful reflections of the lights and the buildings on them. And better still, if you use a long exposure, you'll be able to smooth out the surface of that water for a really dreamy, ethereal effect. Now, the kind of exposures that we're talking about are not the kind of ones that you can hand hold, even if you're leaning very steadily against a wall or a railing. So here, I'm using a little mini tripod to support the phone. And you're also going to want to take control of your exposure. So in this case, I put it into the expert mode. On some models, it's manual, and this will let you set the sensitivity and the shutter speed. Set the ISO value to the lowest number available, in this model, 100 ISO, and then experiment with the shutter speed. I generally start at about 1 second and then see what the result looks like. If it's too dark, go for a longer exposure, maybe 2 or 3 seconds. If it's too bright, go for something shorter, maybe a half or a quarter. Now, I'm just going to take the picture here by tapping the screen very carefully because I don't want to wobble the camera as I take the picture. But if you are suffering from a bit of wobble here, or you want to avoid that, then just put the phone into its self-timer mode.